Recorded Books and One Click Digital present Chasing Freedom, The Life Journeys of Harriet Tubman and Susan B. Anthony, inspired by historical facts, by Nikki Grimes and illustrated by Michelle Wood. Narrated by Lizanne Mitchell. Harriet Tubman and Susan B. Anthony. It is 1904, a year in which the 28th Annual Convention of the New York State Suffrage Association met in Rochester, New York. On this occasion, Susan B. Anthony will introduce the guest speaker, the legendary Harriet Tubman. That November afternoon, there was a rap at Susan's front door. Susan finished lacing up her shoes, then crossed the parlor, in the staccato rhythm of one who's got places to go. Were it not for an abundance of white hair, you'd never know how many years she'd been on this earth, how many lives she'd lived. But there was one who could count them, one whose stories were river deep. Susan reached the door, swung it wide, and smiled. "Harriet." "Afternoon, Susan. You did ask me to come early." Yes, come in," said Susan. "Let me take your coat. The convention will not begin for hours. That leaves us ample time to exchange battle stories. Before now, our few times together have been a mad crush of activity, with precious little time for conversation." Susan led Harriet to the parlor and poured them both some tea. "Sit, please." "I thank you," said Harriet. "Now then," said Susan, settling in her chair, "where shall we begin?" Beginnings. Susan sipped her tea and leaned back in her rocker, flipping through memories like pages in a book. "I started out as a teacher, did you know? I taught for 15 years, though I could not abide the unequal pay and treatment of women in that profession. A woman might earn $250 a week, while a man received as much as $10. The injustice of it bothered me fiercely. Before I retired permanently, I returned home to learn that my father, mother, and sister had attended the first Women's Rights Convention held in Rochester and had signed a declaration demanding equal rights for women. It was all the talk in 1848, that and the new law allowing a woman to own real estate in her name. Mind you, until then, her husband could sell it and pocket all the money. The very idea! Susan spat out the words. Thinking women began to wonder what other established laws might need fixing, suggested Harriet. "Precisely," said Susan. She took a deep breath. "I thought perhaps this was work I could attend to. So in 1849, I walked away from teaching forever." "You got the call," said Harriet. "Just like Isaiah. Cry aloud, spare not, says the Lord. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet," Susan finished. She smiled and took a sip of tea. This, thought Susan, is going to be a most interesting afternoon. The call. "I know about being called," said Harriet. "My call came different. First to free myself in 1849, then, once I was settled in Philadelphia, the Lord told me to free my people. I sorely missed the kin I'd left behind, and John, my husband. He loved the South, and being freeborn did not feel pressed to leave it. My niece, Keziah, was another matter. In 1850, I got word she was to be sold to the Deep South and would forever be lost to me, just like our own mother had been when we were children. I could not bear the thought. It was then the Lord whispered to me, 'Go to her.' And his voice drowned out any fear that might have lodged itself in my heart. I met Keziah and her family in Baltimore and hid them till I could get them safely across the state lines. Once Keziah was free, I set my mind on others who needed rescue. It would seem your destiny was clear, said Susan.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.